A unbelievable comeback. Let's find out. Casters, take it away.
Thank you so much, Clutch. Game number 3 is about to kick off, guys. Sortof is up 2-0, and it's win or go home. No more chances for Hyun. He's got to go 3 in a row. We call that a turkey. Over here in the top left corner of the map called Ohana, we have the man who's currently down 0-2. He is a GSL runner-up. Give it up for Hyun. And over in the bottom right, currently up 2-0, the underdog Dark Horse, but I bet everyone knows who he is. Give it up for Western Wolves, Sortof.
Manfred, and I'm still thinking about that last build we saw on Cloud Kingdom. It's just such a cute build. It's a perfect timing where you get just enough infested Terrans to buffer for your Hydras. And you have just this extremely fast Hydra count with good upgrades. And it's just DPSing so much faster than Fungal plus Roaches. And that's something that I never even considered in this matchup, and it's so enlightening to me. I'm really glad to have Sortof over here in the NASL Season 4 Grand Finals. You know, a lot of North Americans, me included, didn't really know a lot about him, but after studying some of his replays beforehand, watching him here in the Season 4 Finals, being 2-0 up on Hyun of all people, I am so impressed.
Yeah, I mean, most people, I read some of the previews, some of the predictions, a lot of people were saying that Hyun should beat Sortof 3-0, 3-1, but that is not the case at all. In fact, it's the opposite, right? Hyun might be the one getting 3-0'd and swept if he's not able to pull it back. Now, in the opening build orders, Sortof did go for a hatchery first, and Hyun does go for a pool first. Both pretty economic-centered, but Sortof still has a slight edge in that regard unless Hyun can take it away. And I feel like unless Hyun's able to sort of deal with Sortof's Roach Hydra composition, especially earlier in the mid game, I can't really see Hyun taking the game or the series.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. He really needs to change up his style a little bit if he wants to deal with that Hydra push. I think it's just a much stronger army when it comes down to it. If you go Roach Hydra, or excuse me, Roach Infestor against this Hydra Infestor Roach, there's no way you can actually kill that army in time, and you're going to take significant losses. That's been evident in both first and second games with the fourth bases. We'll see if Sortof plays to that forward base, as Ohana is one of these maps that it's a little bit smaller. The fourth base is a little bit more open and closer to your opponent. You expand towards your opponent, so it means the push distance is a little bit faster. We might not see that type of play. Both these players might have to change up and be a little bit more aggressive.
Well, Ohana is a map where the ramp is a lot more narrow in their natural compared to some other maps like Entombed Valley or even Abyssal City. Like, that's a pretty wide open natural compared to some of the other maps in our map pool. So it's a little bit safer in that regard, but that doesn't mean we can't see aggressive play, can we, Andre?
Definitely not.
Great, so we see that Hyun is going to go for a Bailey Nest at his natural and try to set up a little bit different than he did in game number 2. You know, we were talking about how he was hiding the Bailey Nest and really withdrawing a lot of information, but this time him and Sortof are pretty much mirroring each other down to a T. Hyun trying to viciously catch up in the drones and be as greedy as possible, especially since he knows his opponent went for a hatchery first.
Wow, and Hyun changing up his style, it really tells me that Hyun's a little bit scared that his opponent is capable of doing some sort of all-in. If I'm in Hyun's position, though, I would actually roll the dice a little bit and just say, okay, I know you've been playing standard both games so far. I know that in your past, in NASL, you've been just absolutely standard. You don't do two-base early all-ins. Just forget about it. Go that early layer just like Daybreak. Get those mutas out, but retain them. Don't trade them out, and he should be in a great position. I felt like Hyun had game 1, and he just let it go because of that Baneling attack.
Well, you know, we'll see how Hyun's able to carry into game number 3. He does have 4 gases and his lair already on the way. Sortof still on hatchery tech, and he's making a lot of Zerglings. Sortof's going to commit to a massive Zergling Baneling aggression. Can Hyun hold? He doesn't have anything really to defend us at all.
I guess I would have been super wrong and dead Frodan, because this is exactly what I was saying.
Oh my goodness,
Sortof
Hyun has literally
does not
nothing.
do.
He's just got drones and queens. That's it. And a spine crawler.
Well, two are going to be merged pretty soon here, and that gives him a little bit of space, but there are a lot of banelings being formed over here. Is it going to be enough?
One Bailey trying to trade, and that's good for Hyun, but he needs a lot more if he's going to handle this, as Hyun is going to try to make as many Baileys as he can. A few are done, but the queens transfused at the last second, and Sortof can't break through the Baileys. They want to trade again, but the Zerglings are not able to do anything. Sortof trying to make something happen here, and game number 3 going for the drones. And he gets a huge connection, but the drone count is still very similar. Hyun still has to hold, but he's falling behind the injects, as Sortof is not relenting in his aggression. More Zerglings and Banelings on the way.
Is that going to be enough? There are 2 spine crawlers already walling off completely, well, not completely, but into this one direction, and he can keep 2 banelings together always to make sure, unfortunate trade there, but that he, trades banelings out efficiently. One queen is going to go down, and he might get...
Banelings not really able to do anything. Hyun trying to dodge, play merry-go-round, and does end up stabilizing again, as now he has roaches out. Hyun lives. Impressive defense from our red Zerg.
But unfortunately...
Hatchery is also getting weaker too, and I mean, almost everything here from Hyun, he's holding as best as he can. Sortof does end up going back to droning though, and he has his roach worn out, so he's going to be very safe. The drone count, 41 to 26 in favor of Sortof.
Beautiful. You can see the natural is pretty much not mining. It's not even a base anymore. He went the 2 extractors. It looked like he was going to go towards Spire Tech, but he had to cancel his plans, unfortunately. At this point, I feel like Sortof, all he has to do is just macro up, get his roaches out, and expand to his 3rd base. And he will almost always either have a timing against his opponent, because Hyun is going to try to take a 3rd base, or he's going to just have more units out and defend his 3rd very easily. So really put that pressure economically on your opponent. While they're droning up, you're getting units, you're getting better tech out, and you can really exercise your advantage that way. Looks like Infestation Pit is going to be placed twice for Sortof, in case you want to get Neural Parasite and
Fungal
Pathogen Glands.
Oh, sorry, the pathogen glands. For your fungal growth. That's right.
Like, give me that roach. Yum. Thanks.
What if it's like you scout 1 and then you cancel 1, but you really have 1 more, and you have like ultimate mind games on
What if he Neural Parasites a drone and builds a hatchery?
Well, that'd be kind of imbalanced, man.
That would.
Because then you have twice the Zerg supply. Hyun is going for a 3rd base a little bit, or actually at the same time as his opponent. And he has kind of stabilized. It's just that his drone count was behind for a little bit, giving Sortof more time to get everything up in terms of upgrades, in terms of his tech like Infestors. So Hyun will have to be defensive. Sortof moving out again, but this time Hyun should be much better prepared, considering he's seen this coming for since a long way back, and Hyun is able to really parry things off for the first time.
Still, I mean, there's going to be a moment of catch-up. Look, the 3rd base had to be canceled because he realized, okay, if my opponent is putting pressure on, I am in no position to defend this. I lost so many drones. I know my opponent has the capacity to have a big economic boost on me. There's no way I can hold this. So he goes ahead, cancels it. Unfortunately, I feel like he might have been able to hold that. It's really, really dicey. Maybe if he included his queens, a spine crawler. Still, I think he made the more conservative approach. He doesn't want to just die straight up here trying to defend a 3rd base. Let's try to extend the game as long as possible. Get Infestors out and just defend with them. Those are the wild cards. Infestors give you the ability to be more cost efficient, and that gives you the ability to get back into the game.
Sort of going to try to pressure this 3rd, and if he can win the battle and force another cancel, it'll be massive, but he does back off because his Infestors are now out into the field, and that'll give him a pretty nice advantage. Meanwhile, Sortof also saturating the 3rd base and getting gases extremely quickly. So, I mean, Sortof doesn't necessarily have to attack. He's put on lots of pressure already, and for strong reaction, Hyun's already got the cancel 1 time. Sortof's still sitting in a really nice lead.
That's right, but this is a potential timing here. We are at the stage when he's getting Infestors. That means all the gas going to the Infestors, and then the rest going to drones. Infestors need time for that energy, so he could potentially push in, but of course, it's a little bit scary because of the massive lead he had in the beginning phase. So he's just going to back up from here. Hyun is basically going to say, I'm playing from behind, but I have the ability to get back into this game. Let's see if Sortof does that same attack. He mounts that Hydralis plus Infested Terrans, and just tries to push with an alarming amount of units at that mid-game stage.
Yeah, and we've seen players like Stefano sometimes say, well, you know, even if he does have a base over me, I can push with a massive influx of units. But Hyun's not doing that either. He's trying to catch up also in the Infestor tech. So he's just playing it from behind and trying to see if he can have any moment where he can capitalize on maybe a positional stake from Sortof. Until then, he has no ability to really shut him down because he's doing the same exact thing, going Roach Infestor, trying to get the same upgrades. The only thing that is going to be in favor of Hyun is that he's going 2-2 upgrades instead of 0-2 the way Sortof is.
Yeah, so that'll give his Roaches a little bit of a boost. If it's ever Roach versus Roach, then obviously there will be a big advantage for Hyun. But the fact of the matter is, let's look at the units tab real quick. 26-34 in favor of Sortof. Not only that, what do we have on the way? The Hydralisk Den. So this Hydra Den is going to be so powerful. Units tab showing 7 Infestors. He's stopping right there. Just build energy, get enough for Infested Terrans, and he's going to push again. I love this. It's so brilliant. My God, it's just like that slight tweak in the metagame that's really messing Hyun up. And of course, this is a different game because Sortof is so far ahead, but still, it's a really great innovation on mid-game play. And
Hyun sees the timing on the 4th base and says, well, you know, I have that edge. I can maybe climb things back production-wise. And again, if Hyun kind of falls too far behind the Hydra count and not able to initiate onto Sortof, then we've been seeing very one-sided battle just because of how the DPS output. And I feel like if Hyun can surprise him, though, because that's the Hydra's weakness, right? They're not that great at retreating. They can get caught easily. If they get flanked, they're also extremely vulnerable. You know, think of it like a Colossus in a way. You know, like if a Colossus gets flanked out of position, it gets closed in upon. Then it's very difficult for it to be really effective in that scenario. And I think if Hyun can get that kind of surprise onto Sortof, then maybe. But otherwise, Sortof's been playing the series entirely perfect.
That's right. And you know, Ohana's a really tough map to defend over here. I feel like he's defending this open area, and it's needless. He should actually back up to these chokes over here. Force some sort of engagement there, the Infested Terrans from Sortof get placed, and then all of a sudden, you just back up and say, Roach Infestor against no Infested Terrans, Hydra Roach. And then you can play a little bit more effective. This is good for Hyun right here. You want these to be placed, and then you don't engage, but he's engaging right now.
Yeah, trying to use the Infested Terrans to confuse the Hydra AI. Not all of units from Sortof are engaging. Lots of battles going on in the middle, but I don't even know what's going on. We're going to see what happens, Andre.
All right, let's just wait and find out, but the Hydra's just too much damage. You can see the top getting cleared off so fast. And the Infested Terrans from Hyun, not going to be enough. 171 supplied to 124, a massive advantage for Sortof.
And Sortof able